Hello, Shonky Spurt here, and today we're having a proper hard squint at the fresh new OnePlus Pad 3, one of the cleverest and massivest shiny rectangles of 2025. Massivest, absolutely not a word, of course. Sorry, it's still peppered in the spice dust from last night's nachos. One of these days I'll actually do a video that looks vaguely professional. The OnePlus Pad 3 may be a ridiculously skinny Android tablet, but it still packs in some proper beefy Snapdragon 8 Elite smarts, a ridiculously crisp display backed by an Octa speaker setup, as well as a load of cracking features and the obligatory accessories sold separately. It goes on sale from June the 12th with a slight price rise over the Pad 2 at £529 plus an additional £169 if you fancy that smart keyboard. I've been using the OnePlus Pad 3 for the past couple of weeks, so here's my review, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first up, you might be wondering what you actually get in the box besides, of course, the OnePlus Pad 3. And if you thought the answer might be quite a lot, well, prepare for disappointment. Because unless there's some sort of hidden compartment that I've completely missed, you basically get a safety and quick guide and a bright red USB charging cable. Now the OnePlus Pad 3 doesn't exactly break the conventions of tablet design, but it is one smart wee fella. As you can see, reasonably skinny bezels surrounding that display and pleasingly symmetrical as well, and just about thick enough so you can use this thing one-handed without your thumbs straying onto the screen and balking the responsiveness, although that has happened a couple of times this past fortnight. However, one-handed clutching not particularly comfortable, of course, because this ain't exactly a small, compact, light tablet. You're definitely best off with two hands, or if you are going to go one-handed, holding it portrait-wise. You've once again got an all aluminium design, so aluminium edging and back end, and it seems pretty tough despite the inherent skinniness of this tablet. In fact, the OnePlus Pad 3 is somehow even more terrifyingly skinny than the previous generation. It's actually almost exactly as skinny as Samsung's fresh Galaxy S25 Edge. But at 675 grams, you certainly couldn't accuse this thing of being light. Like last year's tablet, sadly you've only got one colour choice here, which I believe that OnePlus is marketing as some kind of blue, although it just looks like a kind of murky grey to me. Maybe I'm just too used to living here in the UK and everything is a different shade of grey. You've got a matte surface as usual, but it does get a bit fingerprinty and greasy, as you can see there, if you are handling it quite a lot. And sadly, no neat spirally effect or anything that sort of makes the design stand out a bit. It's fairly plain and straightforward. Although I am thankful that that camera bump only juts out ever so slightly from the back end, which means there's minimal jiggle when the OnePlus Pad 3 is sat on a desk or table or whatever. Sadly, there's no fingerprint sensor built into that edge-mounted power button, so it is face unlock all the way, which sometimes works better than others. As you can see there, struggling a bit at the moment, possibly because I've got the studio lights on, so that's kind of mucking it up. But I do find that occasionally I have to enter the old pin instead. And as for accessories, well, of course you've got full stylus support with the OnePlus Stylo 2, although sadly not bunged in the box. You'll have to purchase that separately. Same goes for the old smart keyboard. And it's a pretty straightforward setup. Even a Geordie could manage it. All you basically do is just slap on the back plate, and then the keyboard itself just connects up via pogo pins. And there you have it, kiddies, the OnePlus Pad 3 in laptop mode. I feel like a proper business person with an actual job, not just some git on YouTube. I found those keys are well sized and spaced. It's actually a pretty comfortable touch typing experience, helped by the respectable travel for a keyboard cover, certainly. But of course, like most keyboard covers, no backlighting, which does make typing away in the wee hours a little bit problematic. You do have to basically boost up the screen brightness so you can illuminate the board that way. And yes, OnePlus has included a cute wee touchpad on this thing as well, which I found works okay until you want to left click on something. You do actually have to push in the touchpad closer to the center or the right side to left click for some reason, and when you do so, it often causes the cursor to jauntily skip across the screen and completely miss whatever you were trying to click on in the first place. Multi-touch gestures work great though, so for instance you can use 3 fingers to swipe between different apps like so. 4 fingers to zoom in and out when you're using multiple apps side by side. The only one that I couldn't get to work was the old 2-finger scrolling in docs. Just not a fan of that at all. But as usual, the main problem with this setup is it's far too flimsy compared with using an actual laptop. So half the time when you pick it up, you'll end up with a keyboard flying off somewhere, or just the whole thing basically collapsing. And also it's just really, really not comfortable to use on your lap. But anyways, few surprises when it comes to the actual software running on the OnePlus Pad 3. It's a good bit of OxygenOS 15 tablet edition slapped there on top of Android 15. And this comes with a promise of 3 OS updates, which ain't the best, but at least OnePlus is also guaranteeing 6 years of security patching, which is 2 more than what the OnePlus Pad 2 offered. That's pretty decent. And as you can see, 256 gigs of storage on the base model of OnePlus Pad 3. You can upgrade that to 512 gigs. You will have to hoist some more cash at OnePlus. In that case, it's 599 quid. Now on the OnePlus Pad 3, you've got improved dynamic scaling, so a lot of Android apps, they actually fit that display nicely, even when it's in landscape mode, like so, as you can see, filling that space. Doesn't always work, unfortunately. The likes of TikTok, pretty bulky, especially when you're first signing in there, and then you've got those big chunky pillars down either side. But most of your regular apps should look pretty good on this thing. And also, OnePlus's Open Canvas setup is an absolute joy to use. As always, you can quickly and easily jump into split view at any time in a variety of ways, be it tapping the wee dots up at the top there. Otherwise, you can simply drag out the dock, grab anything else you want, and then simply drag that onto screen as well. You can get a grand total of 3 apps running side by side like this. Just drag the third one and chuck it in this wee box in the middle, and as you can see, it'll open side by side with the others. You can then quickly and easily flick between them. Pretty handy if you've got something like Spotify running, so you can skip tracks and everything on the fly. You can also zoom in and out with a quick pinch of 4 fingers, like so. And for anyone who's new to OnePlus tablets and Open Canvas, well, OnePlus has added in a few gentle little tutorials that occasionally pop up and just be like, hey, maybe you want to try using a bit of this. It's pretty good. Like if it notices you're constantly flicking between 2 apps without using the old split screen, and it'll pop up a little box at the top saying, hey, you might want a split screen. Save you all this pissing about. And it is a similar setup to OxygenOS on your smartphone. So for instance, you can drag down the notifications panel from the left side, and then it's the control center on the right edge, which for some reason is squished up against this edge and yet completely blanks out the rest of the display, which looks a bit weird. And if you are playing something in the likes of Spotify or Audible and you minimize it, you'll get the old floating turd up at the top end of the screen there that you can tap to bring up some media controls at any point to quickly skip a track or whatever. And of course, you've got some excellent customization options in here, and plenty of other fantastic features packed away as well, which I won't bang on about now, because I already did that quite substantially in a dedicated OxygenOS 15 video, so go check that out if you want to know more. And OnePlus has also improved the file sharing abilities with your smartphone here on the OnePlus Pad 3, even if you've got one of those ruddy, dirty iPhones. You can either tap it to the NFC spot here on the smart keyboard to quickly share a file. Otherwise, the OnePlus Pad 3 also supports OConnect. It's an Oppo app that we've seen on the likes of the Oppo Find X8 Pro, for instance. Allows you again to quickly swap photos off of your iPhone onto your tablet, or even remote control your MacBook if you want to do that for some reason. And you got the likes of File Dock as well, so you can quickly and easily share documents, photos, whatever between your tablet and the likes of your OnePlus smartphone. I have seen the occasional wee bit of shonky behaviour from the OnePlus Pad 3 these past couple of weeks as well, which is to be expected for a pre-launch device. So for instance, occasionally it just can't be bothered to really connect to the internet. Apps will just be constantly buffering for a good minute or so until I shut them down and try again. And this despite the internet working absolutely fine on everything else in here that's connected to it. Oh, and also bugger all eSIM support. Sadly on the Pad 3 it is Wi-Fi or hotspotting all the way. Now for the OnePlus Pad 3, the display tech has expanded over the previous generation, so it's now an absolute friggin' whopper at 13.2 inches, one of the biggest screens on any tablet that I've tested in 2025. It is an LCD display, sadly, instead of OLED tech, but the contrast is still pretty damn good for LCD. even if there's subtle support for HDR streaming on services such as Netflix right now. It's a 3.4K resolution display, so even though it's proper spacious, everything is finely detailed. Certainly HD content looks nice and sharp. Your photos will look beautifully crisp, and movies of course look fantastic too. Only possible issue being the 7:5 aspect ratio, which is quite square proportions overall, so if you are watching some cinematic fare, you'll either have to put up with some pretty major letterboxing, otherwise zoom right in which case you lose a whole bunch of stuff at the sides. That display is certainly bright enough to comfortably use outdoors, as long as you haven't got sun literally beaming right off that shiny glossy surface. As usual, you can customize those colors, and of course you've got a variety of eye comfort modes. While the old refresh rate maxes out at 144Hz, perfect if your favorite game supports a higher refresh. And bugger all complaints when it comes to the audio action here either, because it's an 8-speaker setup on the OnePlus Pad 3, consisting 4 bass units and 4 tweeters. And that audio output is certainly pretty ruddy full on, certainly for a skinny rectangle. You could be spending some quality time with friends, or writing the next great novel, or even just dyeing your pubic hair ginger so your undercarriage resembles Ed Sheeran. Yes, that audio comes through proper, full-on loud. Vocals are still nice and clear. It's reasonably bassy for those actiony, punchy, shooty scenes. Of course, music still sounds kind of nah, so I'd just play that through headphones or whatever. Bluetooth streaming absolutely fine. So the bugger all headphone jack on here, however, not even sure you'd be able to fit one on those skinny edges, to be fair. And no apparent changes to the camera tech here on the OnePlus Pad 3 versus the previous generation. You've once again got an 8 megapixel front-facing selfie shooter, which can record footage at up to full HD resolution at 30 frames per second. Absolutely fine for your video chat shenanigans. You know, there's not much stabilization or anything, but the audio pickup's fine as long as it's just sat on a desk or whatever, no worries. And again, you've got a 13 megapixel camera around back, which can record at 4K resolution if you ever want to shoot home movies on a massive 13-inch slab. Now, if what you really crave out of your next tablet is some proper beefcake performance, well, the OnePlus Pad 3 certainly delivers there, because it's powered by one of the most premium chipsets right now, Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite. So I run in multiple apps side by side, nice and smooth and satisfying. And if you are a gamer, you can play the most memory guzzling titles out there like Wuthering Waves with a beautifully smooth frame rate. And that's even if you jack all of those settings up to their maximum values. Of course, I would recommend playing the likes of Wuthering Waves with a gamepad, not using the touchscreen like I did, but the touchscreen sensitivity absolutely spot on as well. And OnePlus hasn't neglected the coolant tech either. You've got a bit of graphene composite vapor chamber action stuffed in here, and certainly even when gaming on Wuthering Waves for a good wee while, it only got marginally warm up towards that top end. So performance certainly a highlight of the OnePlus Pad 3, as is the battery life, because you've got an upgraded battery capacity here, 12,140 milliamp hours. So OnePlus certainly making the most of that size increase. Now, I found if I leaned really heavy on this thing, so running multiple apps at the same time while also streaming Spotify in the background and downloading some massive files at the same time, I still got around 10 to 12 hours of action on a full charge. With lighter use, just a bit of email and web browsing and occasional bit of YouTube streaming on this thing, you'll comfortably get around 18 to 20 hours of playtime on a full charge, so it'll easily see you through a full intensive day. The only way I could kill it quick was literally by playing Wuthering Waves non-stop, in which case you'll get around 5 hours of gaming playtime before, again, it's fully deceased. Oh, and OnePlus reckons you'll get around 60 days of standby time from a full charge as well, but I haven't had the chance to actually test that out. As for recharging this thing, well, OnePlus has upgraded the Pad 3 versus the previous generation there as well. So you've now got 80 watt Super VOOC wired charging, so bung a cable in it, you get a full charge of that absolutely whopping great massive battery in roughly an hour and a half. So certainly as far as performance and battery life goes, the OnePlus Pad 3 absolutely one of the best out there in 2025. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell is what I reckon of the OnePlus Pad 3 after using it as my full-time tablet for a couple of weeks. too many highlights to list, and as always, that Open Canvas software experience is an absolute joy, even if there is the occasional bit of balkiness when it comes to the app layout. And of course, I did have the occasional bit of troubles when it came to the Wi-Fi connectivity as well. Hopefully just an early bug that will be squashed once this thing actually hits stores. Of course, the OnePlus Pad 3 ain't cheap. Some strong rivals out there, the likes of the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro, and of course Samsung just launched this new Fan Edition tablet if you want something around the same sort of price. I've done full reviews on those bad boys right here on TechSperts. Go check them out if you want to know more. In the meantime, it'd be great to hear your thoughts on the OnePlus Pad 3. Do smash your comments down in the wee boxy bit below my chatty head. Plug subscribe, ding that notifications bell, all the usual YouTube guff, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you!